Do you know why I'm wearing glasses?
Because your eyes look like shit.
Because I'm so tired that actually there are tears in my eyes, and my eyes are red, and so
Oh, I thought you were crying.
yeah, I'm no pussy like you.
All right, back at it again in 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, guys, here we are back at it again. Wally Wall here with me. I am Randall, folks. Waleed Kandusi is my co-host. We are Native MMA Radio. Like on our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram pages. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the little bell for the notification so you get all of the great content that we put out. We usually do about 2 videos, a breakdown and a recap a week, and then we try to throw in some interviews when we have time. It's just been crazy with work lately, and they have a goddamn UFC every single weekend. This weekend, Holly Holmes versus Irene Aldana is finally going down. This time on Fight Island. It was originally scheduled for the Apex twice. That fell through both times, obviously. Here we are finally getting this fight. It's truly the number one contender fight for the women's bantamweight division, and I'm super excited for it that we're finally going to have some clarity in that division.
Yeah, we need clarity in. I feel like every females division, maybe even the Wiley Zink, because we don't know, we're not sure if she's fighting against Rose or who she's fighting
I think
against.
Rose is the obvious option, right?
I think Dana said it, but Dana says so much shit, so
he says a lot of shit. It's Dana.
Yeah, it's Dana. We love
him. For sure, 100%. Now, this weekend's card, very good. Irene Aldana, obviously Holly Holm, the headliner. Jorgen De Castro versus Carlos Felipe as the co-main event. Yeah. Duran Duraname versus Juliana Pena's on this fight. We can go through the whole card, but let's just start at the very beginning. Luigi Verdamini is taking on Jesse Irai. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yari.
Yeah, you're good.
Luigi is 8-1. Jesse is 16-5. This is Luigi's first bout at the 155-pound division in the UFC. He made his UFC debut at 170 pounds. So interesting to see what he can do at 155 pounds.
Yeah, interesting matchup to start this card with. You know that I love the big guys starting the card, but if I'm not wrong, there is no big. Oh no, the co-main events. Other than the co-main events, there is no other big guys in the card.
Hey, listen, if we can't have the big guys, we might as well have the most stacked division in the sport, correct?
I agree with you 100%.
So what were you saying?
I just wanted to say that this card actually, there's, like you told me before we start recording, there's a lot of fighters that actually are kind of unknown. So maybe it will be a fun card. You know that the card that actually everyone shit about are actually the one who delivered. So who knows? Maybe this will be
I remember there's like a lot of the Australia cards were like, people were like, who the fuck are these people? And then they show up on fight night and they're fucking amazing. That's where you get like the Israel Adesanya is coming out of nowhere. The second fight of the night, Casey Kinney, our good friend, taking on Ali Teng. This is a great matchup for Kinney. Obviously, he's dominated the 135-pound division outside of the Vili. Obviously, no one beats the motor. That dude's crazy fucking. I mean, that dude's motor is ridiculous. We'll talk about that another day. Obviously, he's fighting here soon. Casey Kinney, though, looks very good in this fight. I have to give him the edge over Helwani. Helwani is 2-0 in the UFC, though. Casey Kinney is 3-1. I'm excited for this fight. Casey Kinney always brings it. It's a striking matchup if you really look at it. In my opinion, though, Casey Kinney obviously lands more strikes, 3.0, but not much. Haley is right behind him with 2.77 per minute. Strikes absorbed, though, Haley takes 5.1 strikes per minute, where Casey is a lot better with his head movement, obviously, and he only takes 3.31. I think that's going to be the deciding factor. Obviously, if Casey Kinney can put his hands on you, he's going to rock you eventually. The dude has power, and he is the smaller guy. He's naturally 125 or moved up to 35 just because he didn't want to deal with the weight cut, and he's looked really good since he's done that.
Yeah, and it's kind of amazing and kind of crazy, the list of guys who actually fought ever since joining the UFC. Rayborg, Bermudez, Marab, and Smolka, like those are top contenders.
Smoker.
Yeah, those are top contenders, or at least were at some points of their UFC run. And I agree with you. I feel like Kenny have a big advantage in this fight, being the more experienced fighter in the UFC, because he have 2 fights more than Letang. And he actually have two big fights. You know, all his fights, those 4 fights were big names. So
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
very
fought with no crowd before too as well. He fought at the
yeah.
Apex. He was able to get the big victory over Smoke in the Apex. He was super excited to get to Fight Island, so I'm glad that he was able to do that. We'll probably catch up with him after the fight. Super excited for this next one, though. Another young lady who I love watching, Luma Lukbume, is probably one of the best kickboxers we have in the UFC. I'm talking to men and women. This is in the women's bantamweight division against Ju Yun Frey. Obviously, these foreigners are getting a lot of publicity out here on Fight Island. This is where we found Kazmat Shemaev, and he's been killing it ever since. Luma, though, is just a phenomenal talent. She throws a 5.07 strikes per minute, to where Jean only throws 2. The biggest thing for this is if Luma obviously has a ridiculous pace that she can put on girls. If Ying cannot keep up with that, how long do you think she's able to last?
I'm not sure about this question. I like that Luma is actually the younger fighter. She maybe have more chances to win. Her last fight, if I'm not wrong, was against Angela Hill, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she lost that fight,
And
but
she looked good. It was a close decision that she lost to Hill. And it only being her second fight fighting somebody with the caliber of Angela Hill, it's, really shows that the UFC brass has big plans for her and they think very highly of her.
Yeah, a lot of Asians. I'm not sure about Jin Yu Frey's origins. I'm not sure if she's I'm not sure about where she come from, but Luma is from Thailand. Actually, thank God that there's some Thai fighters in the UFC, because a country like Thailand, who actually, been very important when it comes to mixed martial arts, should be represented good in the UFC.
And they're represented very well. I mean, look at people like Luma. She could eventually hold the title one day.
Who knows? Maybe.
And she's the perfect person, really, if you look at her and you look at her, height and everything, she could go down one division if they brought it in. If they ever decided to bring in the atomweight division, I think somebody like Luma could really control that division.
That's a possibility, yeah.
Jordan Williams makes his UFC debut. He was on this season of the Contenders Series, taking on Nazardine Imarov. Super excited for this fight. Imarov's UFC debut. Obviously, Jordan Williams' UFC debut. If you did not see him on the Contender Series, go back and watch those fights. He's super exciting. He wins, he was fighting a guy who looked like he was RoboCop. Even Michael Bisping made the comment, but he literally got outstruck by Jordan Williams, got knocked out. RoboCop shut the fuck down. And here we are, maybe 4 weeks later, fighting at Fight Island for the UFC.
Yeah, amazing. Nasruddin, who actually fight out of France, so I will definitely check him out. I want to see where he's actually from.
For an interview.
Yeah, maybe, who knows. So yeah, interesting matchup. This card actually have some decent fights, when you look at them.
The next fight, Charles Jourdain takes on Josh Kilibio. Josh obviously started his UFC career in the 155-pound division, taking on Jalen Turner. This time, he's actually going to go down to 145-pound division, which this is his more natural weight class. We talked about this before and after the Jalen fight. Charles Jourdain is a young man who I've been very excited about. He lost his last fight to Andre Touchy-Philly, but has looked very good before that, taking on a lot of very big names. Charles Jourdain lost to Desmond Green in his very first fight. He's looked very good, though, ever since then.
2 fighters on an actual losing streak right now, so both of them desperately needs a win, and very interesting matchup also. Don't have
biggest takeaway from this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Charles has a 4.5 strikes landed per minute, where Josh is only 1.5. He absorbed 6.56. Now, mind you, a lot of that is he fought a much longer Jalen Turner, and Jalen Turner is a beast when it comes to striking. So those numbers are a little bit inflated when you look at it that way. But when you look at Charles Jourdain, this is over 3 fights. This is pretty much what he brings to the table. He hits a lot and he gets hit. So it's really who can land the heavier punches and see who can really make it through this 3-round matchup.
Yeah, interesting matchup.
In what I believe is a featured prelim, the natural-born killer Carlos Condit takes on Court McGee. Obviously, these two gentlemen have been around forever. Carlos Condit, the former interim UFC welterweight champion. I thought many people thought that he beat Robbie Lawler for the title when Robbie was on his run.
Yeah.
Interesting fact, though, I want to point out, Carlos Condit has not won a fight since USADA started. How was he kind of flown under the radar? I feel like if somebody like a John Jones had did something like that, or even like a Nick Diaz, I feel like a lot of people would be talking about it.
Well, because he's liked and he's loved by the MMA community, he's never been a trash talker or whatever, so people don't talk about him like that. But you've been talking about him winning against Robbie Lawler. Let's talk about him losing to Nick Diaz, actually.
This is very true. In my opinion, he lost to Nick Diaz as well. He wouldn't even be the interim UFC or welterweight champion.
Exactly, but the man is in a 5-fight losing streak. Chiesa, Alex Oliveira, Magny, Maya, and Robbie. And he didn't good.
Losing to Neil Magny right now. Neil Magny is actually calling out Chimaev for that main event fight.
I would love to see that.
I would love to see that. Chimaev's talking about fighting fucking Adesanya. Let's just throw him right in there.
I will tell you something. Hamzat actually can fight against Court McGee and give him like a 2-minute break, and he will fight against Carlos Condit afterward and beat them both.
Without absorbing 3 strikes?
No, not at all.
Like, the dude's phenomenal. We'll talk about him though later. Obviously, he's getting a main event slot on Fight Island. Or sorry, at the Apex Center. So when they get back to the UFC,
and remember what we thought when we spoke about in his last fight. I said that he should be in the main event of a card. He should be, and that's what exactly happened. Got it. So Dana, you're welcome.
Yeah, Dana, obviously paying attention to our show so we can get all the great ideas from Waleed.
Yeah.
In the middleweight division, Daquan Townsend takes on a debuting Durko Turmunov. Obviously, I don't know a whole lot about Turmunov. He is a big fellow for 185 pounds, 6'1". I guess he's not that big but he's 9-0. So obviously he has some hype behind him, going 100% undefeated. This is his UFC debut. Like I said, Daquan Townsend though has not really been impressive since he's joined the UFC, losing every single one of his fights. Losing his last fight to Desmond Clark. The last fight, though, I really feel like it was a back-and-forth fight. Daquan Townsend could have won that fight. It's just when Clark lands those big right hands on you, it's hard to stay up.
It's actually, this card is like International Fight Week, because what I mean by that is you have fighters from everywhere, because in Apex we had more like of a United States. Yeah. Now, I like it because Dusko actually fighting out of Serbia. I'm not sure if there's any UFC fighter who actually come from Serbia. So it's his first fight. And the guy, I'm looking at him, is a finisher. Only his last fight in the Dana White Contender Series, that was a decision. But he actually finished fights pretty early. He needs just 1 round or maybe just 2 to win. So pretty excited about this fight. I feel like this can be the fighter that will make us like make us wow in this card.
Definitely the guy who we're going to talk about on the coolers come Monday morning. In the next round, Kyler Phillips is taking on Cameron Ellis. Not the next round, but the next fight. You know what I mean? God damn it. Yeah. The Matrix obviously has a big win in his last fight coming up to his. I thought Kyler fought. I thought that was Kyler who fought Chimaev in his first fight, and then I rewatched the Chimaev fight and I was like, oh, that's not Kyler Phillips. So the first one I thought was super impressive. It's not really that impressive. He didn't beat who I thought he beat. My fault, obviously. But yeah, Kyler Phillips, the bantamweight.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
That would be hard for a bantamweight to fight against Hamzat.
You're telling me. I wasn't thinking strictly, obviously.
Yeah.
The dude has a big, huge output, 6.53 strikes landed per minute, only absorbing 2.09. I'm super excited for this fight. I feel like this one is probably not going to see the judges' scorecards. These two are going to go in there and throw down.
Yeah, two straight killers. I like how the more we are moving up to on this card, the more we are seeing guys with a really good resume. So I'm loving this, and I feel like the main card may deliver. And this fight, this is definitely one of maybe it could actually be the fight of the night.
Now, I don't know about that one because this next fight is great. Jermaine Durandame is taking on Juliana Pena. Juliana Pena last took out Nico Montano. The only fight that she's lost in her last 5 is to the UFC's strawweight champion of the world, or sorry, flyweight champion of the world, Valentina Shevchenko.
You mean no? She lost to Amanda Nunes, if I'm not wrong.
No, Juliana Pena. That was her.
Oh no, I'm talking about Jermaine. Oh no, I'm talking about Jermaine.
Yeah, Jermaine, her last fight, she lost to Amanda. But obviously, besides that fight, she's 4-1 as well. So these two women, identical records in the last 5 fights. I'm excited for this one. Jermaine, I feel like has obviously the kickboxing experience, but Juliana Pena cannot be taken lightly. If she could really take this fight anywhere she wants it. If she wants to stay standing with Jermaine, I think she has the boxing to at least keep it interesting. But for sure, once they take it to the ground, I feel like Juliana Pena has a huge advantage.
Yeah, this is one of the most solid fight that we can have maybe in females division. I agree with you when you said that this may be the fight of the night because it's very this is the highest level that we can get maybe in the females division. Jermaine Randame's striking is amazing. Juliana Pena maybe in the ground have a advantage, so perfect matchup.
Classic striker versus grappler. Who's going to prevail though?
Yeah.
In your opinion, who wins that fight?
In my opinion, I feel like Jermaine Durandame, other than maybe against Amanda Nunes, been looking very good lately. So I would go with Jermaine Durandame.
I'm going to go against you. Juliana has looked very good recently. She took that long layoff, came back, whooped on Nico Montoya. I'm excited to see what's next for her. If she can continue what she usually does, I could see her fighting Amanda Nunes here soon.
Do you think that we can see fighters losing on purpose in this division just to not fight for the belt against Amanda Nunes?
No, at the end of the day, it's still a payday.
I agree with you. I'm just joking.
Now, in the co-main event, Yorgan De Castro takes on Carlos Felipe. Carlos Felipe lost his last fight to Spugov. Yorgan De Castro lost his last fight to Greg Hardy. I almost called him Ed Hardy. Greg Hardy. But he won his first fight with Justin Tafa in a huge fashion, knocking him out in his hometown.
And Yorgan De Castro, if you remember the fight, he actually would have the ability to win this fight if he didn't break his toe, if you remember.
Yes.
He was winning.
The Greg Hardy fight.
Yeah, he was winning the fight. He was looking good. De Castro is a good fighter.
He's a dangerous kickboxer.
He has some nasty kicks, because when you look at his body type, you will say, that may be just a brawler. Well, no. He's a kind of a complete package when it comes to striking.
When you look at his frame, 6 foot with a 75-inch reach, you almost think that he's a light heavyweight. But obviously, he's got the gut. He can't cut it. He's got the same problem that DC always had.
Yeah, those are body
short
types.
Heavyweights.
Those are body types. Listen, short heavyweight. Mike Tyson was a short heavyweight, so it doesn't make sense at all. There's no body type that actually. It's just like great fighters. You can have one arm and be one of the most solid MMA fighter in the world. So ask Nick
Jack to the gills and not know how to fight at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously. Look at this game. Habib Nurmagomedov is not like an Adonis. He's not like 6'4", like chiseled.
Yeah.
He's a normal guy. He's like my height, but he will fuck you up.
he has the perfect body type for his fighting. Like
What he does.
if you look at Khabib's back and shoulders, he have maybe the like you can't hug him. You can't like touch your hands if you hug him. Yeah, his back is like that, you know. And DC's back is like that. This is the body type of a grappler. Grapplers look like that. I have a friend actually who's a black belt in judo,
Hmm.
and if you look at him, you will see he looks like a nerd. But if you look at his body, like his shoulders, his back, like he's made of wood. Like he's made out of wood. Like his back is not normal. It's not normal. So yeah, this is the body type. There's no perfect body type in the fighting game.
No, 100%. I mean, listen, Holly Holm's got a pretty nice body. I'm just saying. In
Yeah.
the UFC's bantamweight division, Holly Holm takes on Irene Aldana. Like I said earlier, this fight is literally for whoever is going to fight Miss Amanda Nunes next. Holly Holm lost to her 2 fights ago, but obviously it's Holly Holm. She'll get a title shot if she wins 2 in a row, no problem.
Yeah.
But Irene Aldana, like I said earlier, she beat Caitlin Vieira. Caitlin, in my opinion, was on her way to fighting for that title.
Yeah, she was, and I think that Irene is a fighter that actually can be a solid potential challenger for the belts. I think that she has the reach, she has the
Plus, it's
height.
the fresh face.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like everyone wants to see her, and she doesn't care. You know that she will bring a fight. Her split decision loss to Raquel Pennington actually didn't hurt her at all because she went down and win 2 fights against also Caitlyn in his last fight. So personally, I would go with Irene for this fight, even though Holly, you can never count out. You never. The preacher's daughter is an amazing fighter, striking wise, she's one of the best. But personally, I would go with Irene for this fight.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Irene Aldana has just been on a roll lately. I think she's going to get the victory too. And then, like I said, just a fresh face for Amanda Nunes to beat up. That's really what interests me the most.
Yeah, exactly. We need fresh faces. We need new challengers, new contenders, because not only for us fans, but actually the champions, Valentina and Amanda, they actually need fresh blood to keep on, because if they keep on fighting the same persons, they will get bored and maybe they will retire, and we don't want them to retire.
Or it'll be like a situation with Mighty Mouse where we just don't appreciate them.
Exactly. I agree with you. And we don't need that.
How do you see this fight playing out, and what's the finish?
I would think that this fight will go to decision. I don't think that we will see a finish, but I would say maybe Irene weirdly outstriking Holly, even though people would think that would not happen. But maybe this, in my opinion, this can happen.
For some reason, I see Irene catching Holly in a striking exchange and then finishing up on the ground. I don't know why, but that's just what I feel like is going to happen. And I feel like it's going to happen in the 3rd or 4th round. I'm usually really off, so Holly Holm probably win.
Holly been finished before, so yeah.
This is true. I was there. Amanda Nunes kicked her fucking head off.
Yeah, so that's a possibility.
Another great one for Fight Island, man. I'm super excited for this card. Literally, it's one of those where, like I said, you might not know all the names, but you might know a lot of the names come Sunday morning.
Yeah. So 3 fights. Let's go.
Oh, you're going to put me on blast real quick.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I really like the Jermaine Duranme and Juliana Pena fight. I think it's an important fight for that division. I really think it moves one of those 2 women forward. Yeah. Luma Lugbume versus Jean Euphray. I'm excited for that. Luma has an amazing style. Her kickboxing is bar none, probably some of the best that we have in the UFC. We're talking men and women, like I said earlier. Casey Kinney, our boy, taking on Heli Ali Tang. I'm excited for that one. Both those guys go in there and brawl. Hali hasn't lost in the UFC. Casey only losing to Marab. Super excited. Those guys could literally put on fight of the night, and it's the second fight of the card. For you, what are the 3?
I would go first with Carlos Condit against Court McGee because I love dinosaurs. Then I would go also with Dusko Todorovic against Dequan Thompson because I'm always intrigued when a fighter is undefeated, and I either want to see him keep on being undefeated or losing his O. And for the third thing, third fight, I would go with Yorgan De Castro, because I feel like this guy can be a real threat in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, and obviously none of those fights overshadow the main event. That's literally
Yeah.
the number one contender fight for the women's bantamweight division. Amanda Nunes' next opponent, obviously besides diapers, is going to be one of these two women's. We're going to find that out come Saturday night.
Exactly.
Anything else for UFC Fight Night? Holm versus Aldana.
Not exactly, but let's take 5 minutes to talk about what's going on right now in the MMA world. Let's talk about the McGregor. What do you think about what's going on actually with McGregor? I feel like we need to talk about it.
He leaked the text messages.
Yeah.
Dana was super unhappy about that. For the one thing that I took away from those text messages, he asked for Gaethje.
Yeah.
I get everyone's going to harp on Diego, but he asked for Gaethje, and that's one thing that people have been saying that he's been running from. So obviously he cleared that one up. Another thing, he said obviously he's fighting Pac-Man in next year sometime in Abu Dhabi, whatever. We won't talk about that now. We're talking about MMA. Dustin Poirier has already offered his services to return Conor McGregor back to the octagon. He's even been willing to do it outside of the UFC for charity. That's an interesting foray. I don't even know if they're allowed to do that. I don't think, while you're under contract, you're allowed to take a fight, period, exhibition or not. So interesting for that. He contacted the heads of Disney. He hit up Mickey Mouse, and all of a sudden, now the UFC's offering him and Poirier a fight in January.
Yeah, I'm not sure about maybe they can actually do an exhibition fight, because when you see fighters do some jiu-jitsu or grappling tournaments,
it's not an MMA fight.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same, I would say so. But Conor is doing he's doing boxing stuff in the MMA world, and what I mean by that is he is calling out people. He actually wants to change the game, I feel like. And what I mean by that is, in boxing, fighters actually don't just sit and wait for big fights. Sometimes you will have Tyson Fury fighting against the number 6 guy in the world, fighting against the number 7, between. Yeah. So
knowing he's eventually going to go up against Joshua, knowing that he's got the Rock Bomber in his wings.
And I feel like this is a dangerous road that Dana White don't want to go to, because if he start doing this, Khabib would have a record. Oh, okay. Khabib would have a undefeated record of 100-0. So
sorry about that, guys. That was Waleed's booty call. Just kidding. It's his alarm. He's got to go to school, bro.
No, not yet. I have time. So, like I said, Khabib would have a 100 MMA undefeated record. But yeah, what do you think about what's going on right now with Conor? So you think that it's normal? Do you think he's losing his mind? What do you think is going on?
I think Conor can do whatever the fuck he wants. I think he's making waves to get himself a fight. I think he's sick of waiting on the sidelines. I think that he had a plan for 2020 and he got one fight in. He wanted at least 4. So, and it looks like he's not going to be fighting at all for the rest of 2020. That fight with Dustin Poirier is offered for January of 2021.
It makes sense.
It does. I see it. But why does Conor have to go to these lengths to try to get a fight when he's the biggest star in your sport?
He likes to create drama. I feel like he loves it. He loves it. He's on a, I don't know how many months vacation in France, actually. It's been like maybe 2 months that he's been here. He's working hard, but he's on vacation. He's loving it. So he's living the life. Listen, Conor is Conor. I want to talk about also, I saw a very interesting video of Francis Ngannou training with Teddy Atlas, who's one of the greatest boxing coach in the world. And
if
I loved
you can give Francis Ngannou just a hair of technique more, that dude is going to be a killer.
He will be undefeated. Nobody can beat him.
That just makes that Stipe rematch even more interesting. I'm super intrigued by that fight. I think John Jones skips the line, though. I think the UFC has to make that fight. I think when it comes to making money for Jones, I think that's the bigger fight than Ngannou right now because of Stipe's legacy. I think once he loses to Ngannou, which I'm sure he's going to in the next fight, Stipe, I think that will tarnish the Jones versus Stipe fight just a little bit.
Francis would be a great champion. I really think that he has the charisma, the character, and everything to be a great champion. Not saying that Stipe is not a great champion, or Stipe is one of my favorite champion ever, but I'm talking like in the future. Not saying that I want him to win against Stipe or whatever. I actually do want Francis to win against Stipe in the next fight.
Oh no, I think that there's, at this point, especially when you're working with somebody like Teddy Atlas, I don't think there's a way that Stipe
I would love to see Kamaru, Izzy, and Francis champion at the same time. I feel like it will send such a
African
big,
brothers.
exactly, African brothers, and it will send such a great message, a great vibe, you know, with everything going on right now with the world. And we can just hope for
Stipe Miocic, now that Jan Blachowicz won the UFC light heavyweight title, is the only American-born UFC champion.
That's crazy. And it's been a while also that we didn't have a Brazilian champion. I've been talking to, actually, I have my neighbors who are Brazilian.
We have one.
Who?
Davison.
Yeah.
Figueiredo.
Yeah, Figueiredo. Yeah, sorry, I forget about that. Sometimes people forget about this division. Even though I like the division, but sometimes it is, you know, it is what it is.
No,
you know what I mean? Yeah, Amanda is also champion, but I'm talking more about the males division. So it's been dumb. You know, we have cycles. Sometimes the Russian wave is coming. Hamzat will be champion, even though he's from Sweden. And the African wave is coming also, so I'm loving it.
Well, Hazmat was born in Russia, but he obviously moved to Sweden. Sweden obviously takes care of their people. That's why he was like, well, if I'm going to represent anybody, I'm going to represent this country that takes care of me, not the one I left because it was fucked up.
Yeah, he wears the flag, so when you wear the flag, it's your country.
Like Waleed. He's French.
Yeah, I will show you. I will show you the Algerian flag. You know what? I will show you the Algerian flag that I have actually on my wall. So stop calling me French.
Look at that.
So stop calling me French, bitch.
Don't you love this guy?
Yeah.
Straight from France. Anything else on this weekend's card, man?
Nothing. I feel like there's not too much going on right now around the MMA world, except for Conor going crazy. So yeah, I think that we spoke about everything.
Excellent. Well, there's your alarm one more time. That about wraps it up for this episode. Wally Wall, thank you for joining us as always, brother. And stay classy, knuckleheads.
Peace.